Whales, dolphins, sharks and seabirds. The waters around the British Isles are home to a wonderful array of marine life. Most of us find the company of marine wildlife to be one of the most enjoyable elements of going to sea. Who can fail to be moved by the sight of gannets diving or dolphins bow riding in friendly companionship? But as our seas become ever busier, with both leisure and commercial interests, it's essential that we give our marine neighbours the space they need to live a natural life. We hope that this short film will show how we can all easily take positive steps to reduce potential for our presence to cause harm to marine life. So come and meet the cast. Whales and dolphins vary in their response to boats. Some are more sensitive than others. Some simply prefer to be left alone. The one thing they do have in common is that they all use sound to communicate with one another and for hunting their prey. Some boat noise, echo sounders, engines and especially propeller sounds are in the same range of frequencies that some species like bottlenose dolphins use and may drown out their communications, causing panic, especially for mothers and calves. Observing dolphins close up as they ride the bow wave of your vessel is an amazing and a memorable sight. This is when it's most important to maintain a steady course and speed to make sure that you minimize the risk of collision. And when they've had enough, let them leave of their own accord. When they do, take the hint and don't be tempted to pursue them. Dolphins use a tremendous amount of energy trying to keep pace with your boat, energy they would otherwise use to hunt, and whilst they may enjoy it for short periods, they can't keep it up for long. There are a number of simple rules to follow if you sight dolphins. At no less than 300 meters, slow down. No more than 6 knots is ideal, and no wake speed is best. Check to see whether calves are present. If they are, the animals may not be receptive, so steer clear and never get between mothers and calves. Be aware of your surroundings. Are the animals in a shallow bay where they may feel hemmed in, or are they in open waters where they have room to freely move? Never close off their exit route from confined spaces. If it seems okay to get a little closer, make a slow approach from behind and to one side. They will know you're there, and this angle of approach is less intrusive. Watch out at all times for signs that your presence is not welcome, such as rapid swimming or sudden course alteration by the group. Do not approach closer than 100 meters. Measure this against your boat length. This is close enough to get a good view, and still allows the animals to come to you if they wish. Never drive your vessel through groups of dolphins. Don't outstay your welcome. 15 minutes is long enough. Then the animals can go back to normal behavior and relax. Leave wanting more. That way you'll always have an excuse to get afloat. 2's company, 3's a crowd. Do not approach if more than 2 other boats are present. The more boats, the greater the potential to disturb. Remember too that many of these animals are not only sensitive to disturbance, but are protected by law from reckless or intentional disturbance. Insensitive boat handling leading to disturbance or injury could result in legal action against you. Give wildlife the space and time to live their lives undisturbed. Enjoy the view and leave nothing but ripples when you leave. The waters around the west of Britain enjoy regular visits by the world's second largest fish, the basking shark. A highly protected species, these gentle giants have very different needs from whales and dolphins. They're large, powerful creatures, and although they feed only on minute animal plankton, they can still pose a threat to small craft that approach too close, sometimes lashing out with their huge tail if disturbed. Basking sharks can often be seen feeding along tidal fronts close to headlands, where long, calm slicks of water mark plankton-rich fronts, highly attractive to the sharks. Sadly, these fronts also contain litter, such as plastic bags and discarded fishing line, which can be deadly to sharks and other marine creatures feeding in these areas. Sharks feeding along fronts often move in a fairly unpredictable manner, so it's sensible to keep your distance. They can also enter a kind of feeding-induced trance, where they become oblivious to the approach of vessels, and so will not get out of your way, with potentially unwelcome results for you and the shark. Sharks may also be seen in these areas in groups, courting, when they should be avoided, so as not to disturb this important activity. In these circumstances, sharks may not only be at the surface, but sometimes just below, where they may be invisible to craft on the surface, and so extremely vulnerable to injury from collision, and your boat may be vulnerable to damage. So keep a good lookout if you can see one shark. There may be others just out of sight. And remember that basking sharks can leap clear of the water, If you see this happen, it's best to keep well out of the way. Small boats, rigid inflatable boats, and personal watercraft should take special care, as basking sharks have been known to breach and land on small craft, causing terrible damage to both themselves and the boat. So what are the most important tips when you see a basking shark? Slow down to less than 6 knots, at least 300 meters distant from the animal. Approach slowly from the side and behind. Do not approach closer than 100 meters. Shark movements can be unpredictable. Take your engine out of gear so the propeller is not turning. Never cut across ahead of sharks. Do not stay longer than 15 minutes. Navigate carefully around fronts and keep a good lookout for sharks just below the surface. You can find 2 species of seal in UK waters. The common seal is smaller and has a dog-like face and tends to be seen in more coastal and estuarine areas. The grey seal is bigger and has a longer head, particularly in the bull, with his pronounced Roman nose, which is more often seen in open waters. Seals haul out to rest, warm up and relax on rocky outcrops, islets or sandbanks, well away from predators and disturbance. They look like they don't have a care in the world, but this behaviour is essential to their health and well-being. Relaxing in this way allows them to recover from other activities such as foraging for food, so it's vital that they be left undisturbed to rest and get ready for their next dive. Seals are very alert to disturbance of all kinds, and the first sign of this is usually the classic, heads up, looking around urgently to see who is approaching. If the animals are disturbed further, then they will almost always rapidly enter the water. This is not only wasteful of valuable energy reserves, but can also result in injury, especially for seals resting on rocks. Similarly, the wake from speeding craft can wash resting seals off rocks, disturbing their rest. Approach seals from an oblique angle, slowly and quietly, making no wake. Do not approach directly or too close. Watch out for signs of disturbance, heads going up, seals becoming agitated, or moving towards the water. If you see any of these signs, back off slowly and quietly. Keep your distance. Watching with binoculars allows you a great view while minimizing disturbance. A minimum approach distance of around 50 meters is recommended. Keep noise aboard to a minimum and avoid moving around too much on deck. Seals can be very sensitive to noise and movement. Be especially careful if you can see pups present. Never get between adults and pups, which may disturb the parental bond. Don't stay too long. Leave them to their rest. 15 minutes is recommended. Don't feed seals with fish or anything else. It can alter their behaviour and make them more vulnerable to injury from small craft. We have a wealth of wonderful seabirds in our waters. Gulls, terns, skuas, guillemots, and many people's favourite, the comical puffin, amongst many others. Many of them nest along our stunning and rocky coastline and raise their young, fed by the rich seas that surround us, and this is when they can be at their most vulnerable. This is especially true when eggs or chicks are in the nest. If the parents are disturbed and driven off their nesting ledges by a vessel approaching too close, they may launch themselves into the sea to protect themselves. This leaves the nest vulnerable to attack by predators such as great blackback gulls or skuas, who may steal the eggs or baby chicks for food. Similarly, when chicks are growing and fledging, they tend to gather close to the water, preparing themselves for the moment they're ready to make their move to the sea. Disturbance at this time can cause high levels of mortality. Frightened chicks may launch themselves before they're ready, suffering fatalities from landing on sharp rocks or falling into the sea. Approach seabird colonies slowly and quietly. Keep noise and movement aboard to a minimum. Keep your distance. A minimum distance of 50 meters is recommended. Using binoculars allows a good view without disturbance. Be particularly sensitive around nesting times. Chicks, eggs and fledglings are especially vulnerable to the effects of disturbance. If nesting birds start to move around in an urgent manner, bobbing their heads, flapping their wings or launch from ledges, move away slowly and quietly to a safe distance and let them settle down. Avoid travelling through rafts of birds resting on the water. They may be feeding, resting, molting, or they may be youngsters who are new to life on the water. Go around them slowly and quietly at a sensible distance. All of our wonderful marine life is precious. A little thought and consideration from us means that we can coexist happily alongside some stunning and rare species while we're out enjoying the water. By taking the kind of actions recommended here by the Green Blue, we can help to minimise disturbance and ensure that the oceans and wildlife we enjoy today are still there for future generations to enjoy too.